Hello, everybody. Today is Thursday, March the 6th, 2025, and we are back for another episode of Bricks and Beyond, a creator showcase series. For those of you that may be joining for the very first time, Bricks and Beyond is a showcase series that highlights members of the LEGO community. Each episode of the series provides a personal look into the person behind the account. Today's guest joins me from the tri-state area of the United States. He's an engineer by day, but creates amazing LEGO content, primarily focused on Harry Potter, by night. He also has a LEGO wall that will blow your mind. On Instagram, you may know him as accio.bricks, but I'm here to introduce you to him as Frank and my famous trade line, Accio Frank. There he is.
Hello.
It worked. My spell finally worked.
The spell works.
How many times have I tried that to work and it never works, and it finally works
It
here?
works
Finally. How the heck are you?
good. It was a long day. It was a long day. I'll tell you that.
Why,
you were just to wrap up the day.
You were just waiting for this, right?
Waiting for this. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I was thinking about this, and I know I mentioned to you, but I schedule these obviously in advance, and I don't remember when you and I scheduled this, but it feels like it's been forever.
Forever.
And I feel like my life has been going fast, but for some reason, it's just like you just kept getting skipped for some reason because you were there on the calendar, but it just wasn't coming. So I'm glad
you finally used the spell correctly. So here
I am finally ready for the night because you bring a lot to the table, and I'm excited for everybody to learn about you yourself.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
How has the week in general? How's that been for you?
The week has been really busy, but busy better than boring.
Yes.
Any day.
Yes. However, if it's boring, that usually means you get time to build Lego, correct?
That's true. That's true. But this week, I'll tell you this, it's been rough.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been rough to build Lego.
I get that. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about life, man. It throws stuff at you and it comes fast. So
it happens, comes in waves. But the weekend is coming. So there we go.
That's what I was just going to ask you. So obviously it's Thursday and like once we get over Wednesday and Thursday's here, like Friday doesn't even matter. It's just the weekend's coming. So what's on the agenda for you this weekend?
I don't know. I think this weekend we go out for dinner because we do that a lot.
Yep.
Spend time with the kids, spend time with the family, probably 17 different birthday parties, kids' birthday parties. We range between 10 and 12 birthdays. I'm kidding. But with two kids, definitely there's always like 20 birthday parties.
You're really not kidding. That's what's funny.
Yeah. But no, it's always a busy weekend. Yeah. But it's always good. So hopefully I'll have a little bit of time to build a little bit, bring the kids to the Lego room and have a little bit of fun.
Good. Now, did you guys? So you're pretty similar climate to me. Did you guys get the 60-degree weather the past 2 days?
It's like, hello, 60 degree. Oh, there you go, 20. Go freeze again.
Yep. Did it snow today?
Say that again?
Did it snow by you today?
No, it didn't.
It's coming your way.
It's coming. Listen, I think this year we got 2 pretty good snow days. The kids had a chance to kind of go sledding.
Okay.
But I still miss that blizzard.
It's been a while.
I missed a blizzard.
It's been a while.
I missed a blizzard. And I joke with my wife and I think it's a joke that everybody says. Why keep snowing on the weekend? Can you snow on Monday or Tuesday so we can stay in? Nope. It's always on the weekend.
It does not work. It never affects work. It always affects your weekend fun plans. Yeah.
Always.
Yep, I get you. Yep. Now out where you are, does the school that your kids are in, do they have the online days? Like, so if they have a snow day, do they have to work virtually or do they just have the day?
No, typically, again, the tri-state is just very, and I'm in the Garden State. The tri-state is so prepared for snow.
Yeah.
And you're in the East Coast. Like, we're so used to snow that I think schools have managed a pretty good way to kind of do delay openings or early closures.
Yep.
So unless it's a blizzard, you're going to school.
I'm not gonna lie. Growing up, I always liked the delays better
Mhm.
because then you didn't lose any days at the end of the year, and then you got to go to school 2 hours late.
Yep.
So those are always my favorites.
Yep.
It was like a win-win situation.
Yeah, and I think and I've been in the United States now over 14
Okay.
years, but I still see snow, and it's incredible because I grew up for the most part in the Caribbean,
Oh yeah, yep,
in Puerto
yep.
Rico, so there's no snow. So I remember the first time I saw snow 14 years ago, and it's still magical, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, well, for you.
but I've gotten after 3 days, it's not magical anymore. And can you please stop snowing?
I've been dealing with it for 36 years. It is not magical to me anymore. If it snows like on Christmas Day,
Mhm.
that's magical. Other
Yeah.
than that, it's not
Which this
magical to me anymore.
year, for the first time, I think we had closer to a white Christmas.
Yeah, we
Closer.
had one. Was that last year or 2 years ago when it was really cool? I can't remember if it was no, it wasn't 24. It
Mhm.
must have been 23. And it was nice. It was nice to see. It was like that traditional Christmas
Yep.
that you see on the movies. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
snows, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Um, I don't mind the cold or the snow as
Mhm.
much as the cold that
Yeah.
comes with it. That's what gets me.
Yep.
So all right. So obviously you're here because based off of what's in the background, you enjoy Lego.
Mhm.
So we're going to get into that, but we're going to start with giving people a little bit of a look into you yourself first. Then we'll transition into the Lego stuff here.
Let's do it.
So, as I mentioned, you're in the tri state area. You mentioned the Garden State. Just tossing it out there for those that don't know, tri state area is actually New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. So it's a specific place in the United States, but you're specifically Garden State.
Mhm.
Um, so you're by the beach. Are you close to the beach
Oh
or
no, I'm
how?
closer to New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got the city life rather
Yeah.
than the beach life. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Listen, I grew up in Puerto Rico. I got enough of the beaches.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So since you mentioned that,
Mhm.
that's going to be one of the first things I was going to ask you. So obviously not born and raised in New Jersey.
Nope.
I believe you have a life story
Hmm.
that you would like to share. So I'm all ears. If you just want to give me where you were born and where you've kind of been in your
Yeah.
life.
So my parents are actually from Spain. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and very quickly after because my grandparents moved for theater actually in the 90s, in the early 70s actually.
Okay.
Um, and now they're past, but eventually they brought the family from Spain.
Okay.
So I was born in Puerto Rico, Spain, and I was there until I was. So then I was living in Puerto Rico from 7 until I graduated college, basically. So my
Okay.
accent, it's a mix and match of
Sure. Yeah.
places. Back then, in Spanish, in Spain, English it wasn't as developed and as available as it is right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. So the English that I learned, it's actually from Puerto Rico. So the roots of how you
Okay.
learn the language is very different.
Okay.
So every single time, where are you from? You look like this, you sound like that. And so it's difficult for people to figure out where I'm from. So sometimes I have kind of that Caribbean accent in English. But yeah, born and raised in Puerto Rico for the most
Okay.
part. Lived in Spain for a couple of years, but my upbringing is European.
So
So
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I heard you talk,
mhm.
zero idea. I had zero idea where I could have gone in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah,
So I didn't want to guess. I was just gonna wait and hear
yeah.
what you had to say. But so do you remember do you remember those places growing up? Like do you have any memories of living in those places?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have very vivid memories of Spain, and I moved when I was 7, but I have
Okay.
very vivid, very good
Okay.
memories of Spain. And I did it, and my family used to go back to Spain and kind of visit the places,
Oh nice.
go eat the foods and things like that. And eventually, I think we took a pretty big pause to going back to Spain.
Okay.
But then now I'm trying to pick that up again. I'm bringing the kids. So my wife
Sure.
and I have been many times, but now we're bringing the kids this year for the
Oh
first time
that's
to
nice.
Spain.
Yep.
So I'm
Okay.
super excited to go to Spain again. And Puerto Rico, yeah, we've been a bunch of time, have very good memories for the two
Um
places. They could not be more different to
That's
each
right.
other.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You've been in like three drastically different. Would you say all three
Oh,
places
very
are
different.
drastically different?
Very different. And when I moved to the United States, I actually went to New York first because I
Okay,
moved to the United States for work.
okay,
So as like you said, I'm an engineer. I've been doing engineering work for since I moved to the States.
Okay.
I moved to work for a food company, and I still today I work for. That's what I do, food
Yep.
manufacturing to date. So I moved to New York, moved to Jersey because my wife is from Jersey, from
Okay.
the Jersey area. So eventually we moved to Chicago actually for my work. We came back to Jersey because her family's here, and for us we wanted to be closer
Okay.
to family. So yeah, we've been in Chicago, we've been in New York, and now in Jersey. So I've been around
Yeah.
a
So
little bit.
you've picked all the like the big
Yeah,
stops too. You guys didn't go like small town. You went
big.
big cities.
Yes, yes. I'm never in the city, always in the
Yeah.
suburbs because
Yeah.
God knows I cannot do city.
I am. I'm with you on that one.
God knows that. But no, it's
Yeah.
been, but it's been good. It's been good, and now definitely our roots are we're rooted in
Okay.
now in the garden.
Now, when you took your trips back to Spain, were you able to see like did you ever go back to where you grew up? Like, is that was that possible for you to go back to see
Oh,
like the
definitely,
house you grew up in?
definitely. We grew up. We've always grown in, but it was great to go back and see how it developed and how the city developed and how the place that I both candy
Yeah,
developed
yeah,
and
yep.
third places and all that stuff. Um, but I was so little when I left,
Okay,
right? So I didn't really have people to go back and see. Yeah, my family, there's a couple of places in Spain, but it was nice to go back to those places
sure,
and
yep,
see. And then
yep.
I'm now trying to pick up again and go back to Spain and take my kids to
So I
Spain
was
and
gonna
go with my wife to
ask you.
Spain.
Okay,
So it's fun.
okay,
It's fun. And
okay,
Puerto Rico,
yeah,
of course, is more accessible. It's a quick jump
sure.
from the East Coast. So Spain is just a little bit harder for distance and things like that.
That's that would, to me that would be so neat. Like when you just say you live, you've lived the whole your whole life in the United States, and you're like, we're gonna go, flop over to New York City. Like, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
experience, but like to be able to actually take your kids over to Spain or Puerto Rico, like that's like a whole new world to them. I mean, they're young and they don't know anything better than New Jersey, so it just opens up like their eyes to like what's all out there in the world because as you
Yeah.
said it's completely different environments in those
Yes.
places.
And I think that's how my wife and I are trying to kind of raise the kids is that there's something else out
Yeah.
there. Let's go see
Yep.
it. Let's get explore cultures. My kids are, especially my daughter, big foodie.
Okay.
Big foodie,
Okay.
loves to explore new things. I tell you, she would eat more things that I would try. Definitely a big explorer. So we love that. We love to take them to different
Yeah.
places. My wife is Peruvian, so we've been to Peru with
Oh,
the kids. So
nice. Okay.
we try to every year to go to a different country.
Okay.
So we try to do that and try to explore different things, and we love that. That's how we spend our money,
Yeah.
just traveling.
Hey, I mean those are memories. I mean, obviously, you're in a hobby that is expensive,
Hmm.
but to get those memories with the kids, especially at that age, I mean that's priceless. That that you
Yeah,
guys are able to do that.
yeah.
Now, so you do have the two kids, so boy and girl, correct?
Girl, boy. Yep.
Girl, boy. Okay, and
Hmm.
then remind me the age gap
They're
between the two.
3 years
Okay.
apart, 9 and 6. Yep.
So how are they with each other? Are they pretty compatible with each other, or do they like to butt heads more often than not? Or
They butt heads once in a while, but they love each other.
that's
They
good.
have a great
Yeah,
relationship. They have a great relationship, and
good.
I actually I wish I had a sibling with that distance in
Sure.
age.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm kind of only
Yep.
child. Grew up by myself, so I wish I had a sibling because I see them interacting. I see my nephews interacting, and I love that type of relationship.
Yep.
But no, they get along really well,
Yeah.
regardless of
Good.
being boy girl. A little bit less than 3 years, so it's not the gap is not big enough to kind of have main differences, but they
Yeah.
get
Sure.
along really well. Yeah.
Now, do you notice? Does either your son or daughter? Do either of them have more so tendencies of you or your wife? Like, are any of them kind of like a mini me of the other?
My daughter is a mini me of my wife and
Okay.
definitely gravitates
Okay.
towards. And my son, I like to say that at least my son is mine or gravitates towards me. But at the end of the day, they both go to mommy.
Mama's kids. Okay, well, hey,
Yeah.
that's things change though. So tell her to enjoy that because things change.
Things change. But no, we have a very tight relationship.
That's
It's
good.
good, guys. Yeah.
Good. Now, again, nothing Lego at the moment. What as a kid, What would you say some of your hobbies were? Again, nothing Lego related.
Mhm.
Did you like? What are some of the things you remember you used to enjoy?
Oh, absolutely. Arts and crafts. I've always
Okay.
been 100% into arts and crafts. If it wasn't crafting with clay or doing some sort of pottery style element, painting,
Okay.
anything that had to do with making a structure or painting. Even in as I grew up a little bit later, I really got into painting and even sold paintings in
Oh
college
wow.
and things
Okay.
like that. So the crafty elements of me kind of always gravitated
Sure.
around me. What I feel is that it's always changed into always been. I think I've always been kind of. I needed to do something creative with my
Okay.
hands. Like I needed to be constructing something or building something, and I like to call it the different
Okay.
eras of Frank, between the
There's a
painting
friend.
era, and at some point I got into doing architecture with
Okay.
matches, just building structure with matches. It's called matchitecture.
Okay.
So I've always been doing something, but as a kid, always looking for the
Sure.
painting pad or just something. That's what I was asking, and that's what I was asking for Christmas,
Okay.
just painting stuff and crafting stuff.
Okay.
I wasn't really into Game Boy and that type of things or video games.
Probably
It's
better
always
off.
been into always been into artistic stuff for the most part.
Uh, so the reason I always like to ask that question, and I always like to ask that disregarding Lego, is because I feel like I'm a pretty good read on
Mm-hmm.
people, and I love to see like that transition of how what you did when you were little
Mm-hmm.
transition to over what you do as an adult.
Yep.
And what you just told me, self-explanatory to what you do. I mean, it's just how you've translated your new, we'll call it art,
Yep.
which we'll get to later. It's different, but it's the same.
Yep.
Now, do you have you ever gone back to any of those things as hobbies that you used to do, or is that
Oh,
that
oh,
that
oh
era
yeah.
is done?
I have,
Okay,
yeah. And I think throughout now of course I'm a little bit more into or spending my time as a hobby into Lego. But yeah, through the years I've definitely picked up a lot of things on art and craft or making Christmas decorations for the house.
sure. Yep.
I built these 6 foot nutcrackers just because I needed to be crafting something. I'm always crafting something. And it could be I need to be entertained always with something crafty, and it could be making this big painting or this decoration for the outside of the
Yeah.
house, or I need to be or doing a home renovation project that is some sort of designing the wall or something like that.
Okay.
So it's you're always gonna find me doing something like that.
I need to see these nutcrackers because a 6 foot nutcracker sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. Oh, look at that! And Cynthia reminded me that was another era. Yeah, I do bake cakes. I
Really?
do for yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Let's
Cynthia
hear
and I
about this.
actually
When was this era?
this era I think so. I think it kind of have died out a little bit now with Lego, but definitely I all the kids activities or all the kids birthdays or nephews birthdays, like I always wanted to make kind of like a piece
Okay.
for that. So I picked up baking, I would say about 7 years ago, 7 8 years ago.
Okay.
um it's just it's very time consuming, incredibly time
I
consuming.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cynthia and I actually, thank you, Cynthia, for the reminder. We actually, I saw she posted that she was into cakes, and then it's like, look at that, we're into Lego and we're into cakes. Yeah, so making these pieces, but it's just very time consuming to make a cake.
So I'm just going to toss this
Hmm.
out there because I would probably put money on it that you watch
Hmm.
this, but I'm just going to still toss it out. Did you watch the Harry Potter bake? What was it called? Bake. It was something bake on the Food Network.
You know
Did
it.
you watch?
You know it, yeah. My
So
wife, the kids, we watched
have
it,
you
loved it.
applied?
I have not, because for baking, believe it or not, there's, I mean, you can believe it, there's skill required to apply for
I
something like
I
that.
get it.
It's,
Yeah.
it's, it's incredible. Bakery skills are something serious.
Oh,
They're
I get it.
serious. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. But I mean, it's not a one man show. You
Hmm.
know, you'd have a partner.
Yep.
So, I mean, what's the worst happen? You apply and it doesn't work out?
Probably.
Frank,
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna get you. I'm getting you on the Cake Show or Lego Masters, one of the two. So, by the end,
let's
sometime
do it.
I'm getting you on one of them. So,
Let's do it.
all right. So, as a family, so you, your wife, and your two kids, what do you guys enjoy doing? I know you said you do stuff on the weekends. So, what do you guys like doing together?
So we always go to dinner.
Yep.
Every
Okay.
single Friday we go to dinner. Like we like to be out and about. We spend a significant amount of time with family. I think we're
Okay.
fortunate enough to have family close by.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we definitely spend a significant amount, but we're always out and about with the kids. My wife is the absolute best trying to find activities or trying to find something
Nice.
different
Yep.
for the kids. So we're always around,
Good.
but we also love being in the house. We love being
Yeah.
in the house, spending time
Yep.
watching a movie.
Yep.
And now that the kids are a little bit older, I'm really trying to get them, as you can guess, into Harry Potter. It's a
I would
journey to get the kids
have
into Harry
I would have
Potter.
never guessed that.
It's a journey to get the kids into Harry Potter. But so I keep reminding myself that when Harry Potter came out, I was 12, and they're not there yet.
Sure. Yeah.
It's quite a sophisticated,
Yeah.
complex
Yeah.
storyline.
Now, what
Yeah, but
what
little by little.
are you trying to start with the books or the movies?
Movies.
Okay.
I'm trying to start with the movies, but they're scary. They're not. They're a little bit intense. There's parts that are intense, but
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Um, yeah, we actually not too long ago went back and I watched the whole series again.
Hmm.
I just like to do it every because they're always on the
Yep.
weekends. And as much as I hate commercials,
Hmm.
there's just something about watching them on TV
Yep.
that just I don't know. It's just like a feel good thing. And so the one weekend there was the Harry Potter marathon. Went back and watched them all, and that's exactly what I said. I said these are not like it would be hard to sit my son down. He's only going to be 8, but
Hmm.
I don't think he could handle some of the stuff that's
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I can't wait what HBO is going to do now with the movies or
yeah,
with the
that's
series.
yeah,
So, so,
that's going to be interesting.
so, so again, the characters of the movies, they're. I feel that they're our characters. We
Yeah,
grew up
yeah,
with those characters,
yeah,
but as a Potterhead, I can't wait to get
yeah.
more content.
I no, I'm with you. Did you play the I know you said you
Mhm.
guys don't do many or you didn't video games when you were little. Did you do that Hogwarts was it Hogwarts Legacy or something, the video game?
Yeah, it would. So the kids to have the
Okay.
Switch, and of course I got the Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I ask if I mean
But believe it or not, I've only been able to play 2 times.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah.
I actually we were just talking about this. Jesse and I were talking about this last night about the new Harry Potter show, and there's just some characters that you cannot replace,
Mhm.
and you can't replace Alan Rickman. You
Yeah.
just Snape.
You can.
I don't
Yeah.
think I can watch the show and enjoy another Snape because it's just that's
Yeah.
who it was.
Yeah. The part that keeps me excited is that it allows new generations to grow into it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. No, I know.
Yeah.
It'll be good to have. I hope they do
Yeah.
it right, regardless, because as you said, it's new content, but it's just going to be really hard to accept
Yeah.
some of the changes that they're meant to do. I mean, you can't have a couple cast members return and not have the
Yeah. Yeah.
others.
And when we get into Lego, it's interesting because the mocks are based on those movies,
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
those
yeah,
scenes, that
yeah.
scenery, those colors, those characteristics. So I can't wait to see new content. I wonder if something that it was in the book, but it was not showcased in the movies. This is
Mm.
going to give accounts like us more opportunities to have more scenery, different music, new stuff. So I'm excited to see what elements we could get.
It's kind of disappointing though because I kind of wanted 10 more night buses and you know.
We do not need another night bus. Lego, we do not need another
That's
night
what you
bus.
think. That's what you think. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into your Lego journey here. So as a kid, did you first and foremost, did you have any Lego when you were a kid?
I did. And I think between the ages of 8 and 12, that's all I asked.
Okay.
I would say 50-50 between arts and crafts and Lego. I think
Now,
those were kind of my requests.
okay. So
Yeah.
then at that age you were in Puerto
In
Rico,
Puerto Rico.
right?
In Puerto
So
Rico.
I know we're going back,
Mhm.
and obviously you weren't the one buying it; it was other people buying for you. But do you remember what uh, the Lego world was like in
Yep.
Puerto Rico? Was there a lot of it, or was it hard to
I
come by?
actually cannot remember. Um, I can't remember Lego stores.
Okay,
I can't remember, and I don't know how Lego stores have developed or how much have grown. The brand has always been huge, right?
yeah,
But I don't know how much presence 20 years ago had Lego had like it's today. But I don't recall actual Lego stores. I just know that it was part of KB Toys.
oh
or
You guys
Walmart.
had KB Toys.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Okay.
or Walmart. Yeah, as a Commonwealth of United States, there's many stores that are here,
Yeah.
they're there. So for
Okay.
the most part, so KB Toys, Walmart, all of those. So that's what I remember getting the Lego. And I remember asking for Lego, and for some reason, I had a lot of Star Wars,
Okay.
actually. I had a lot of Star Wars that it's interesting how things have changed.
Sure.
Now
Yeah.
there's so much Star Wars available, but I have definitely moved on from that. But I remember having a lot of Star Wars, and I remember having this big
Okay.
helicopter that for some reason is the only one that I didn't take apart. Because I do
Okay.
remember the whole thing was building it. Okay, I'm done now. Take it apart, build something else. That was the
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
For me, it was kind of a stackable toy. It was a
Okay.
stackable toy that it was meant to, you build it with instructions. Now it's meant to create something else.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
even to make things for school, I remember trying to get those pieces. And if the project it was to build a
Uh,
bridge about Greece,
sure.
I would try to make the bridge with Lego.
Okay.
And I remember my mom telling me, not everything has to be built with Lego. We could use clay. We could use something else.
No, Mom, that era is done.
So that era is done. So I remember really wanting to do that. Yeah.
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 Okay. So do you? So then, the sets that you had,
Mhm.
did you also have bulk Lego, or did you probably like take some sets apart and rebuild with the pieces from those sets?
I think back then there was a lot of bulk Lego
Okay.
that I had. Well, I had a couple sets. For some reason, I remember this helicopter. I remember this big helicopter. I had a lot
Have
of
you
kids.
have you looked
Uh,
that up, that helicopter, to see like what set it was? Have you
I
found it?
haven't actually, but I should. I should, because if it's something
Okay.
that it
Yeah.
was on shelf on that particular year, I should probably be able to see what helicopter
Yeah, I'm
were
interested
on shelf.
to know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, definitely. And I recently posted a picture of me as when I was 11, I
I
think
saw
maybe,
that. Yep. I saw it.
just with a ship. And I remember I sent that picture to a competition just to send your creation.
Okay.
And I remember being so proud of that. And I remember getting disappointed that I didn't win. But when I saw the creations that won, I remember saying, okay,
Yeah.
because those 10-year-olds did something unbelievable. And I remember vividly having high
Okay.
expectations for that ship, spaceship, or
Sure.
satellite, whatever thing I built. And when I saw the creations from these other kids, I was like, wow, this is what you can do with Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was good that at a young age, even though you were disappointed, instead of just like saying, "All right, I'm done with Lego,"
Yeah.
you took it and you're like, "Okay, wow, there's a whole other side of the world now with
Yeah.
Lego that I mean, now, I mean, building is endless.
Endless.
Like you literally can build anything."
Absolutely.
So, all right, so then Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Was that a thing for you? Okay, so when did it start, and then what brought you back in?
So Dark Ages, I think everything stopped at age 12.
Okay.
Age 12. And I think, and I love to talk about what brought me back. One of the reasons that what brought me back into Lego, because it's truly, so my anchor, it's absolutely Harry Potter.
Yes.
So I'm not going to even going to wait for you to ask me what is your favorite theme.
I had to change my questions for you, Frank, because I already know it's Harry Potter.
So absolutely Harry Potter. But the journey with Harry Potter is that at age 12, I put a pause, I think, to Lego and a couple handcrafts, and I went deep into Harry Potter. And I remember the first book, because the books came out before the movie, so the first two books came out in English, but it wasn't translated until a little bit later. But I didn't know English at that point. So it's not until the first movie came out that the movie comes out, I become obsessed with Harry Potter. That's immediately, I think it's 2001, 2000.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Somewhere there. So the movies come out, and I remember that feeling of waiting, that anticipation for the next book and the next movie and the next book.
Okay.
So, and I feel that kids today don't have the opportunity to grow with Harry Potter, because I feel I grew up with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I feel that, and I consider myself the lucky generation that
Yeah.
when Emma, Rupert, and Daniel Radcliffe were 12, I was 12, 13, 14.
That's a good point.
And I was 12 when the first movie, you go to Hogwarts. I'm still waiting for my letter, but here we are. Anyway, so
Somebody
I
send
consider
Frank a letter.
there's always hope. So I consider myself lucky enough that for whoever likes Harry Potter, if you were the same age that when they went to Hogwarts, it's like you grew with them.
That's a good. I never thought about that.
And
Yeah.
if you're a late 80s kid. So I feel that my kids don't have kids today. I don't think they're going to know what that is because everything's available.
Yeah.
My daughter comes the other day and my son is like, oh, I know what happens to Dobby. And I'm like, well, I have to wait all these years for do that. So like it's like human beings, right? So you don't crave what you have available, right?
Yep.
So that I had all this anticipation to get the books and the movies and what's next. It's years of waiting for the franchise to develop. So that's why I'm excited for these HBO. But how this connects to Lego is that it wasn't until I started to learn the releases.
Okay.
So it reminded me again of what I felt when I was 12, of waiting for the next movie, waiting for the next book. So I feel that Lego has been the only thing related that brought me back to that anticipation of what's the next set, what is the next thing coming up. And the journey of Lego, it's simple. And I like to say that my wife has a lot to do with it. So she's partially to blame for. So I'm thankful for it. Because every time we go to Target, and I got back to Lego about 2-3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, we would go to Target or any store, and I would go through the Lego aisle because I would always go to see anything Harry Potter, right? Anything Harry Potter theme, mugs, anything. I would love to I love to have it and see it and collect it, whatever. So we would go to a Lego store. We would go, but not to buy anything, just to look. And I would say $50. This is expensive. Well, that has aged not great.
Yeah.
So for my birthday, she bought me the Phoenix Fox.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that was the first one. I built it. I loved it. And then it was Christmas, or it was then my following birthday, and she bought me another one.
Okay.
So she bought me my first 2 Harry Potter sets, and then Gringotts, the bank, happened. So I had these 2 sets. Gringotts happened, and I said, I need to have it. I just need to have it. It just has to happen. And at the same time, I have 2 coworkers. I have a couple. I'm really fortunate that I have a couple coworkers at work, of course, that are really into Lego. I saw one of their Star Wars minifigures at their desk, and I'm like, "Do you like Lego?" And he ended up having this huge Star Wars collection.
Nice.
And then the other coworker has an all themes collection, and then 2 other people join, and then we develop kind of our own community. So Gringotts plus the learning about how the anticipation of sets, really realizing that Lego is beyond just building and what the brand really is. And then of course everything funnel fed through my coworkers. So it brought me back to Lego. So I started buying sets. The Instagram situation, I think it just happened in May. It's relatively recent.
Okay.
And that happened when I started following a bunch of accounts, and I love the content. I absolutely love the community. I found a bunch of Harry Potter accounts in the niche. And I remember creating the account, and I wanted to do something. I knew that my account was going to be Harry Potter specific, no doubt about it.
Okay.
Because even though I know there's a lot of things on Lego ideas and other stuff that I really like, I really wanted to create something that it was Harry Potter specific. So I was not concerned with regretting creating a name that it was going to be Harry Potter specific, but I didn't want it to be so blunt. So that's why accio.bricks happened, and accio, of course, is the spell to get something.
Gotcha.
And I love when someone asks me, "What is accio?" And I'm like, "Who? You're a muggle." It's fine. Nobody's perfect. So I love when people ask me that it's a spell, but that's the journey. And I think with my wife getting a couple sets, with Gringotts Bank coming out and being an incredible building technique, it almost reminded me of my crafting days. It reminded me of my crafting days. It reminded me of building something that it was beyond what it looks like. Because Lego, as you know, it looks like this, but the internal structure of it is completely different, right? So that brought me back. But every time it's the anticipation of a Lego set coming out, and what's the release, and the buzz from the community, and what's going to be the next set, the next scene. Are they going to get the colors right? Are we going to be happy with it? Like I remember this is how I felt when the new movie was coming out. So I think this is my linkage to nostalgia. So it's very nostalgic to me. It's very nostalgic. But the reality is that if Lego, and I say it without shame, if Lego would not have had a Harry Potter franchise, I don't know if I would have gone into Lego. Because the reality is that I think Lego brought the next big thing to me. and it was Harry Potter. That's why for the most part it's I collect Harry Potter, and I have a couple other things, but it's very centric
Sure.
over there. But that's kind of the
Yeah.
journey. Long answer.
Yeah. So one thing I just want to mention because you and I are on the same page. So I taught my son that when I grew up, we had to actually go to a store on release day,
Yeah.
um, and most of the time you didn't find out what was coming out until maybe a couple weeks,
Hmm.
couple days, TV commercials.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like that's how we found out what was coming out. And I would go to the opening day with my dad and we would stand in line, wait for KB Toys or, some of these other places to open. And then you had to rush in
Yep.
there to try to get what you wanted.
Yep.
Now it's just like you can have whatever you want, whenever you want it.
Hmm.
And it takes the magic away to me. Like
Yeah.
there's no like feeling of anticipation other than you have to wait for the mail
Yeah.
to bring it here,
Yeah.
um so because we're not too far from a Lego store, I won't do online
Hmm.
orders. So we're there every first of the month that we want something. We stand in
Yeah.
line, and obviously everything nowadays is so mass produced
Hmm.
that it's
Yeah.
not going to go out of
Yeah.
stock. But I taught him that if you want something and you want it that bad, you're going to go wait in line. And
Yeah.
most of the time, it's because I want to wait
Hmm.
in line. But there's the months that he that he wants stuff, and it's a time that I've gotten to enjoy with him, and it reminded me of the time I spent with my dad when we were
Yeah. Yeah.
growing up. So
Yeah.
it's just like and nothing against what the kids live through nowadays because we've all lived through different eras.
Hmm.
But you're right. I think the 80s, 90s were just
Yeah.
a time that's hard to replicate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And I love to to going to stores. I love to take my kids to the Lego releases
yeah,
so they can go see it, and and it's funny because through the development of my journey, um, I would go to these releases, and I haven't gone to many. I go to these releases expecting that there's going to be. It took a little bit to for me to understand the concept of um, adults love this. I love. The other day I went to a release. There was my kids were the only kids.
yeah,
My kids were the only kids, and I
yeah,
absolutely love how Lego has reinvented, because it's truly they reinvented
yeah,
the
yep,
brand to how to truly bring a community of adults, and of course with different buying power than children, etc. But the techniques that have developed, it's mind
yeah,
blowing. It's mind
yep.
blowing. So I love to take them through the releases, and I love to see when going with someone to a store that is looking for a complete different theme
Oh yeah,
that I'm looking for, and I love to ask them, "What are you here for? What are you expecting? Did you
sure,
like it?
yep,
Or how was the last release?" And people talk about it, and I absolutely love it.
yeah. Um,
Love it.
so going back to what you said, so uh, we're going to say you unintentionally blame the wife because I'm not responsible for what happens when the camera shuts off. So, and then, so not only does she support the hobby, but then you go to work and you have a whole bunch of other people support the
Yeah,
hobby. So you're really in a tough spot because you
very
don't really
very
have
tough.
many places to escape where someone's telling you,
Yeah,
no, don't do that.
yeah. And the thing is that I mean, I have a Lego basement, right? That can only happen with the support of the wife. It's the only way. And I remember when the Lego sets were kind of outgrowing the office, because I had it in the office. I'm like, okay, this is out of
Yeah.
control. This is like there's nowhere else to put anything. And I remember one day we had an unfinished basement, or we have an unfinished basement. I went to
Okay.
my wife and said, "How would you feel if I would eat half the basement for Lego?" And then she looked at me like, "Well, if that's something you want to do, let's do it. But how about the storage? Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do a practice run." And I started moving and relocating all my stuff, all the stuff, right? All the shelves into the other side of the basement just to practice that it fits.
Okay. Yeah.
So then I brought her down and I said, "It fits. So look at all this space available. It has no use. We need to make a Lego room." And I started making a Lego room, and that was a pretty interesting journey with the, because at that point I had already started the account. So the beginning of the account, it was a couple of reviews because I wanted to get into the reviews, and I love doing that. At that point, my account was faceless. I haven't
Okay.
made the decision to not
Sure.
make the account faceless. I remember the day that I said, "I'm gonna put my face
Yep.
out there." Um, But I remember that at the beginning, it was about DIY.
Okay.
So it was all about transformation, and people love transformation. I
Yeah.
came to
Yeah.
realize that people love anything before and after.
Sure.
Doesn't matter if they like the theme, the topic, but the people love the
Yep.
transformation. And there's a bunch of DIYers out there. So for the most part, I did everything on the basement except electrical. I wouldn't
Okay.
touch electrical, so I didn't do electrical, but everything else I did. And again, going back to the crafty, like I needed to
Yep.
do this. Like I absolutely love making displays. And I remember
Sure.
making decisions about the basement and let's do this because it's a little bit lower cost. Let's do it this way. And there's things that are imperfect, but it's my imperfections. So I love
Never
it.
is. Yeah, never
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you're speaking the pain. I feel the pain of putting it all together. I get where you're coming from. So it's nice though. You have your own, well, it's not your own, you a shared space, but you have a dedicated space where you or whoever wants to come and enjoy Lego. Um, Before we're gonna get into that, I got one
Mm-hmm.
more question for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
travel, you've traveled, you do travel, right?
Yes.
Um, you have reached out to me on a couple
Mm-hmm.
occasions and you said, "Hey Keith, I'm going here. Anything you're looking for?" Right?
Yep.
Now I've tossed a couple ridiculous priced sets at you and you've sent me some ridiculous prices back. But give me this when you travel, is that something that you enjoy doing? Is either finding the official Lego stores or finding the reselling
Oh,
stores when you're out
oh,
and about
oh,
in all these different places?
definitely. So again, I go back into Lego about 2.5 years ago. But again, because we travel every year, I made it a point that we had to go and see Lego stores, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the thing is that
Yeah.
they're so available. We always go to the big cities or a city in
Uh-huh.
these trips, so there's always going to be a hand reach
Sure.
kind of Lego stores. But then we started to get a little bit curious with, or I started to get a little bit curious with, what else is out there in these countries for resellers. And
Yep.
and I had a chance to travel with some of my coworkers that are into
Okay.
Lego, and we went to these places to find resellers. And it's not just about buying the different Lego set because it's
Yeah.
universal, right? You're going to find the same Lego sets
Yep.
everywhere, but it's just great to see how they tender and how they cater and how they're organized,
Oh, okay.
these stores, and what type of minifigures you could find. And I remember going to London, and I could get the London the cabin here,
Okay.
but you have to buy it in London. So I bought it in London because it was from London. It was the
Yeah.
same thing I
Yeah.
could get here, but it was not from London. So I got it in London. So we always do that. Recently we went to Prague, and we had a chance to. It's a place called the Museum of Bricks or something like that,
Interesting.
and it's
Okay.
the largest personal collection available to the public.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember how we found it, but we took the kids. We took the kids there. It's called the Museum of Bricks, and it's the largest personal collection that someone bought a
Okay.
place to showcase the collection.
Oh,
I swear
wow.
they have every set since 25 years ago. There's no
Holy
one
cow.
set that you couldn't find. There was rooms of Star Wars, rooms of Friends, rooms of Harry Potter,
That's insane.
and every single Lego set. I was like, I'm gonna find one they don't have. No, they had absolutely everything, cities, everything you can imagine. And they had a full database that basically
Oh, that's cool.
showcases that they don't have every
Okay.
single Lego set available and
Interesting.
how they're trying to find it.
Okay.
Um, I bought a couple retire sets on that store, that they were so available there, but they were not available here for
Interesting.
very low
Hmm.
cost. And
Interesting.
again, and that's interesting because supply chain, how the supply chain
Yeah.
is managed, right? You could have an
Yep.
overflow
Yep.
of that set here, but it's
Yep.
lacking in this country. So
Yep.
that's why I also visit these places, because I love to see what else they have. Do you have this
Okay.
set,
Yeah.
or things like that? And many
Sure.
times I found that they have a lot of a plethora of products that are not here as available, basically.
So
Yeah.
what you're telling me is when you travel abroad at some point, you're going to find me a cafe corner for pennies on the dollar.
Yes, and we're gonna pay 50 euros to bring it back, and another 50 euros to buy a luggage. It's gonna be very expensive.
See, Frank,
Definitely.
I knew you were good people.
Now, but and now that we're traveling to Spain, we're taking the kids to Spain. Definitely, that it's part of the plan. And we
So,
already identify two resellers that are very local to where we're staying,
okay.
and already looked at the stores in Spain.
Um, so I remember talking about this with somebody. I can't remember who it was. Obviously the Lego store has their passports.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about creating your own little like passport for maybe the resellers in different areas? Because I know they don't have
Oh, interesting.
stamps. but kind of like, I don't know what you
Yeah.
could do, like maybe write it down, but just kind
Mhm.
of like, I don't know, maybe get a picture with like the owner if they're there,
Oh,
or
I love
maybe
that.
of you in the store, or I don't know, just something so you can remember like all the places that you've been. Because the Lego store is fine and
Mhm.
dandy. You get a stamp, slap it in the book, that's that. But I think that would be really cool. We actually did that last summer.
Mhm.
I had we went down to well, I'm drawing a blank here, Kentucky,
Mhm.
and went to the Lego store in Kentucky.
Mhm.
I see this guy there, and I'm like, this face looks familiar. I just can't put the face with the name. He comes up to me. He goes, "Why does your face look familiar?" and
That's
and
awesome.
we talked, and we went to high school together.
Oh,
No
yeah, yeah.
idea where our paths went, how we each ended up in the same place, but we ended up getting the picture together.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? This would be really cool. Obviously, I'm not going to meet people I knew from my life everywhere, but this would be really cool to kind of like get a picture and like have
Yeah.
a memory book of just the places you've been, like Lego related. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
that's
know. I just
awesome.
thought it was something
That's
interesting.
awesome. And we have the passports. I got the kids Lego
Yep,
passports, and every time we go to a store, like I have them bring the passport and
sure.
stamp it. But I like that because there's a couple places that we could already put, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a nice. It's your own. It's and now it's their Lego journey.
Hmm.
Granted, if they continue on the path,
Hmm.
because they do build Lego, correct?
I mean, they like to come here pretty frequently.
Okay.
But I came to realize that it's funny because sometimes we would start the three of us building, and then I finished mine a couple days later, and then okay, are they gonna finish this one? Hey, are you finishing tomorrow? And tomorrow becomes the next day, and then they come 2 weeks later. They never finish that or things. Sometimes they finish, sometimes they don't finish, but
Yep.
I still want them to enjoy it. And then a couple weeks later, hey, have you seen my Lego skateboard or whatever? Well, it's on that mock. It's pieces. I needed all the parts that you left on the table, and you're not
That's
taking it from my mock. So next
hey,
time, finish it and take it to your
you
room.
know they're the sets have an expiration. Once they're not built
They
after a
have
certain time, they
expression.
just
Yeah, yeah. And I do have a section for them that so for them to put it away and finish it when they want to, so that
sure.
way they get it. My daughter recently built the Elsa Bang Linda, the
Okay.
Wicked, which I absolutely love. And my son, every time we go, he wants a Venom. It's like Venom. It's
Okay.
like, how many do you want?
Got to
And
get
then
them all right.
I remember telling him, how many Venoms do you want? And then he goes, but you have like all Harry Potter. I'm like, got it.
That's valid point there.
Valid point. So here's your Venom.
See, look at the things we
Yeah,
teach our kids. They learn, they watch. They're like
yeah.
sponges.
That's the
They and
that's it.
they'll take it and they'll use
Yeah,
it to that advantage,
yeah.
right?
He reversed Una on me, so I had to buy Venom. Yeah.
All right, so you have something very interesting
Mhm.
in your space. Now, obviously, you have a beautiful collection behind you, and before we go, I do want to see that. But you have something else that is unusual in your space. Um, I'm not even going to mention what it is. I'm just going to pass the torch to you. And if you want to talk about what that is, because I'm hoping we're on the same page.
Yep.
and
We are. We
if
are.
you okay, you want to talk about what that is, and then if you have it at your disposal to share and
Yeah.
show us, I would love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I guess you're talking about the brick wall, the
Ah,
peekaboo window.
yep, here it is.
Yeah. So I'll take you guys there. But the story there is that I remember when I was building the Lego room, someone showed me. If you guys haven't seen it, the work by Dante D'Antoni.
Okay,
I don't know
I
if you've seen it. It's
I may have.
absolutely
Yes.
incredible. It's absolutely incredible. If you guys think this is cool, the work by I don't know if he's an architect, but he's kind of a Lego mastermind. But he's also into interior design. He does
Okay.
these things, and it's masterful.
Is
But I
he?
really,
Is excuse? I don't mean to interrupt you. Is he the
yeah,
one like when there is like um maybe like a bunch of holes in the wall or something like
yes,
he'll? Okay.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So
Yep.
it's masterful.
Yep.
But so I think it's beyond Lego because he goes into interior design actually.
Yeah. Okay.
It's masterful, but all the images are clients. I can imagine they're fixed images. They're
Yep.
fixed scenes. So I remember wanting. I was in the middle of doing the partition for the basement, and I said I need to have something
Okay.
similar. But then I need to figure out how to do
Yep.
this. I need to figure out how to do this. And the difference is that I wanted to be able to swap the
Okay.
scenes. And and I'll show you, I'll take you guys a little bit through
There you
that.
go.
There we
Behind the
go.
scenes exclusive.
Yep. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, so I remember that I wanted to, because the whole thing is the whole concept of having a brick wall behind the wall.
Yep.
It's just basically that if you start breaking the drywall, you're gonna uncover a
Yep.
whole wall
Okay.
of Lego. But I wanted to make sure that I could swap the scene. So right now we have Luna over there, and I think right now I have this is the Bogart
This
scene
is
in the Defense Against the Dark
awesome.
Arts
Yep.
with Professor Snape, and I think this is one of the first mocks that I kind of constructed.
Okay.
But I wanted to be able to have access to the brick wall, and I wanted to be able to swap the scene. So basically, this is the Lego room, and on the back is kind of what is now the storage. But I wanted to make sure that I had access to these scenes over here.
Yep. Okay.
And the whole thing is that it's like there's Lego underneath.
Okay.
So basically, to be able to have that. And then what I like to do is that once in a while, and there's lights inside. I'm still working through the details of how to properly bring more light
Sure.
into it, because I have a cubby. It's basically kind of a wooden cubby that I built inside, but I wanted to really be able to swap the scene. So if I go behind the basement, I have a chance to really have access
Okay.
to these scenes. And then every time, once I take them out, they go to the shelf. And I haven't built too many. In reality, is that I haven't built too many to go over there, because I like to enjoy them and I like to see them.
Yeah.
Just a couple over here. So this is the mug for the Ministry of Magic, the duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort. This is the recent that some of you might have seen with the Easter eggs.
Yes. Yeah. My favorite that you hounded me on.
Yeah, yeah, the Bellatrix vault, and this is the Patronus
Yep. I
scene.
remember that
So
one.
there's a couple, some of the mugs, and then I finally have the castle, because the castle until last week it was still sitting in the office because I couldn't have a space. There
Okay.
was like no space that would accommodate the castle.
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
we'll talk about the whole, is Frank going to do a Hogwarts City type or not, which is a big conversation in my mind
Yeah.
every day. But now that
Yep.
I got that storage, I'm pretty happy that I brought back the castle. So essentially, I brought everything here,
Okay.
and I had a chance to start building it and creating a little bit. Here I have a couple of other Star Wars and a couple other
Okay.
things.
Yep.
Daily Bugle. There I have a couple of brickheads and a couple things. And I started grabbing and being able to find a couple of these are more than 20, except the spider
Okay.
over there. These are 2001's,
Oh, nice.
2002
Okay.
sets.
Yep.
And what I love about how they develop Harry Potter is that these colors is not like the movies. They started to use pink and greens and things that any Harry Potter fan would say these colors don't
Sure.
belong in the movies. But they're so retro. I love that the figures are still yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love how
Yep.
they have developed, and I love to see how develop Snape, how they develop Dumbledore, and how they develop all the characters. So that's kind of the more than 20, now 24, 25 years
That's
old.
crazy.
I have a little bit of Star Wars,
Okay.
not a lot,
Yep.
but I have some Star Wars, and I don't know why I needed to have Queen Amidala. It's just I needed to have Queen Amidala. So, so I have Queen Amidala.
It's a good one to have, though.
I needed to have Queen Amidala, so I have it in a little box over there. And then the stairs that some of you might have seen
Yep.
as well. So every stair is kind of
That's so cool. I love that.
different scenes. So we have the Everyone is Awesome, and then we have Mario, and then of course I have to have 2 steps dedicated to Harry Potter.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
In kind of a Quidditch type situation, and then Marvel, and then This Is the Way. We have a little bit of that over there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So let me get back to this wall here real quick. So behind the wall, so like when you're looking at it, when you're looking at that wall, when you go behind that wall, so you said there's space, and so what is attached to the wall for the scenes? You said you built a box that attaches to the wall.
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
like a cubby. So in between the 2x4s. So lucky enough, I didn't think about the wall after the fact that the wall was there. So the wall thought it was before this wall was created.
Okay.
So I had a chance to make sure that I would put the 2x4s in place. So basically, imagine two 2x4s, and in between there's some reinforcement, and there's a cubby.
Okay.
And the cubby might be maybe a cube of 17 by 17 by 17
Okay.
with no back wall. So basically that cubby that sticks out like an eyesore on the other side of the room, basically it's full access. So I can slide the images in and out.
Okay. That's what I was curious about. If you took the cubby out and kind of worked in it, or if it was accessible. So okay, so that answers my question. All right. And then for the lighting you have in there, is it all like battery operated lights, or do you have like hard wires where you can actually
So right now I have something on the back that I have to turn on and off. What I want to do is to put a button on this side of the room.
Okay.
I want to make sure that everything is off, but I want to almost drill a hole with a button that I'm just trying to figure out what's the right tech.
Yeah.
That I could just put a button next to the wall that when you press it, it kind of lights up.
That'd be
cool.
But
I came to realize is that every scene needs different lighting, to be honest.
True.
And it's not, so that particular scene doesn't have its own light. But for example, the Patronus and Bellatrix Vault, I started really playing with light kits.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm using let light up right now. But I like it. I like how it brings it to life. So I'm really trying to explore a little bit more of those kits. So that's why I haven't put a kind of a permanent solution in it. But I absolutely love when people go and peek. But I want to make sure that people could go, and it's dark. If I don't, I have to turn it on, right? So I want to make sure that you could press the button and kind of see it.
So yeah, this isn't good. I get thoughts in my mind, and they usually end up bad for the person that I come up with the thoughts. So let me just ask you this. So behind that wall, the drywall, that's all storage space, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So for how far that box sticks out,
not a lot.
Okay. Yep. Could that box be extended further?
Further back?
No. Like wide. Like here's my mind.
Yes.
You put a Harry Potter, I guess we'll call it city display behind a wall.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I don't know. I'm just like, to me that would be incredible. Or if you can't do a city, like have different sized doors where like you could no, you could toss like different scenes. You could have like maybe a bigger box down here where you could put the castle in, or like a smaller scene. I don't know. Like that just sounds like there's endless opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. I have a city that's out in the middle of a room.
Yeah.
We see them all the time. If you have an opportunity to do something that's different, I think it would be incredible. But that's just me.
That'll be pretty awesome. I'm actually thinking what else I could add. The thing with these ones is that it definitely takes. I cannot put a shelf.
Okay.
And thankfully, I haven't gotten to a point yet that I'm competing for space or anything like that. But at some point, it's going to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
It's going to get to that point. That's why you guys have seen maybe the videos of, okay, it's time to get rid of the boxes because we need storage. It's time to get rid of that. And I have this whole thing in my mind of, I really want to display the Star Wars set? Should I take it apart? Should I sell it? Should I turn it into pieces? Or those pieces I want for the mug. So I go in my mind a lot into what to do, but I haven't gotten to that point. But going to the city, that's an interesting one because I see these incredible cities that people build. I see one that you have and a couple others. And I absolutely love when people a couple creators in the Harry Potter community, they create these incredible castles. It's mind blowing the castles that they build. But I love to have a table in my room so I could bring people here.
Yeah.
I love that when my kids come here. I love when my coworkers and my friends come here and we build together. I love when sometimes my wife comes here with my daughter or my son and do homework and we do homework or things like that. So I like that we use it for other things. A city, I feel that it would take a little bit the utilization of the space, but I do want to spend a little bit of space or sacrifice some space. I shouldn't call it sacrifice. So use some of the space to make a Hogwarts castle.
I just gave you an idea that's not going to take any space out of the room.
Boom, go into it. And the thing with Harry Potter is that I love, so they're all mini modulars.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They're all stackable, and I don't know how you or other people keep the minifigures, but I keep the minifigures on top in the scenes
They have to be.
because I feel this the minifigs kind of bring the sets to life a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
agree.
It kind
I
of
agree.
they describe the scenes, and every time I come up with an idea for a mock, sometimes it's a minifigure,
Sure.
sometimes it's a
Yep.
minifigure with a particular um, outfit or hat, or Luna with the Gryffindor hat. It's a particular minifig. I could build something around it. Sometimes it's a song or things like that. But going back to the castle, everything is kind of modulars, and I see these amazing creations that they stack them.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned that if I do that, I'm wanting to bring them back
Okay.
into different sets.
Sure.
But I think if I have to go a different direction, I think I would expand into Hogwarts, because I would love to expand into Hogwarts.
I um I will get pictures for you. I mean, it blew me away. There's a guy in my lug, older
Mhm.
gentleman. His entire living room is like a full scale
Oh
Hogwarts.
wow!
It's I can't even tell you what it is because it's just like it took my breath away when I saw it. Like I saw it, and I was like, "That seriously is
Yeah,
Lego." I mean, it's just incredible. I'll get the
yeah,
pictures and I'll send because you'll appreciate it. I mean, it's just
yeah,
never seen anything like
yeah.
it.
If
So
I got a basement, I cannot ask for a kitchen and a living room for for the city. Not yet.
you
But no,
know,
but building Hogwarts is something I really wanted to do. One thing that I think I mentioned this to you recently. I cannot believe they haven't released an actual Quidditch set,
yeah,
an actual scene. You see Camp Nou and you see Manchester United, and there's a couple
yeah,
others that. So they've developed this.
yeah.
So I can't believe that we don't have a Quidditch set. So I think definitely that's something I'm going to be building
You do
pretty
know,
soon.
you do know we're gonna see a UCS night bus before we get.
You do know that there's going to be 7 generation night buses before that happens.
According to you, there's 200 something
There's like
versions of it.
273 night buses, and they're all the same. For sure.
Oh, so let me ask you a question here because the scenes that you put in the wall, they are what we'll call movie accurate.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever thought of making a scene your own
Mhm.
and just kind of like putting something together off of maybe something you would have liked to have seen happen in a movie or just something off the wall?
That's a great idea. I'm coming up with a mock. I'm almost done with it. I'm deviating a little bit.
Okay.
I'm deviating a little bit this time because I thought it could look a little bit nicer.
Sure.
I thought from the movie, because it's a particular scene that they don't they show a lot of signature
Okay.
stuff, but they don't show
Yeah.
a lot. And we had a chance to go to the London
Oh,
experience,
nice.
and I had a chance to see the set in
Okay.
more detail. And
Okay.
I said that needs to happen.
Yeah.
That particular
Yeah.
detail needs to happen, and then as you research it, you find it, but it's not particular in the movie. What I like to be so faithful to the movie is that it's relatable.
Sure.
It's relatable. It's something that you could recognize immediately, and I like that. I want people to be able to engage and see, oh, that's what it is.
Yep.
I thought about deviating to a couple of things in the book, because the book is different,
Yeah.
or it's described different. But I do like how the signature of the images, that they're so relatable to the movie, and people can just relate to it right away. Yeah.
That's one thing that I must say. So I'm one of those ones that I collect things that I like,
Mhm.
which was probably the worst idea, rather than picking a theme and running with it. The only good thing about that is like if I was all Harry Potter,
Mhm.
I would nitpick every single thing wrong with the set because I know like everything about
Yeah.
that set.
Yeah.
Now, like I know Harry Potter, but I would not like I don't know it enough where if I saw something that was not
Yeah.
technically right,
Yep.
it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But somebody like you, I would assume like if there's something you see that's where your eye gets drawn to. It's like, wait a second, that wasn't supposed to be that, or that wasn't supposed to be
Yeah.
that color. But in with the background that you have with the skills and the craftiness, no problem for you. You
Yeah.
can do it yourself. You can make it what it's
And
supposed to be.
I think that's exactly how making, because if I think in retrospect how in my Instagram content kind of started, everything was it was the sets, and then I started realizing that I was craving deviating from what was available.
Oh yeah.
Just deviating to what was available and trying to create something unique. And I love when I think there's a lot of value to creating these complicated scenes, but I think there's also a lot of value to which I don't do, and I love when people can accomplish a very simple scene with little details, because you have to show a lot. It has to be so well done with minimal details to know what that scene
Yep.
is. Like
Yep.
just something small, like a particular scene, is that two details in micro
Yep.
is different than making these bigger scenes, because you need more pieces,
Oh yeah.
more details, and yeah,
Yep.
of course, you can accomplish a very stellar image. But to do it in a micro scale, I haven't done that. So, and I think there's a lot of merit to smaller type settings. So yeah, so going back to the mocks, I was craving these scenes. It's something that I wanted to see. And I remember I put a story a couple months ago that said, if I could talk to Lego today, these are the three sets that I would love to see.
I feel like I remember that. Yeah.
One was the Quidditch. I said I would love a Quidditch, an official Quidditch set. One was actually Hagrid's motorbike.
Okay.
The third one was not a night bus, I'll tell you that. I can't remember what the third one was, but I remember I wanted a motorbike, and they came out with a motorbike.
It did.
And then, of course, the community went a little bit bonkers with Harry's face looking a little bit like a diamond. I haven't bought it yet. I think I'll get myself together and make a little bit of a modification on that one. But I love again, going back to the anticipation of what's out there. What I've noticed in the last couple months is that I'm getting really enticed about other themes.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. Like, I think Lego ideas. Now that I had a chance to build my Hogwarts, my Harry Potter portfolio, if you will, there's outstanding stuff out there. There's really outstanding stuff out there, and many things in Harry Potter. And I think that's one of the reasons that I started making mocks, is very repetitive. So that's why even something like getting and I think that's why I did the mock of the Ministry of Magic, because it was a lot of green. Harry Potter becomes repetitive with the tan pieces. It becomes it becomes very repetitive. So every time they come out with something Harry Potter that is not tan, I'm excited.
Sure.
I'm excited because it goes a little bit beyond the palette, and I love. It's very. If you see my Instagram, or it's color. I like color. Like I want to see color. I put a lot of color, but I still want to respect what Harry Potter Castle is. So very recently, I started really getting and building mock pieces from the pick and build.
Okay.
So now I love to go to a store. So
Yep.
for the most part, now I go to a store because you know what's on the store. But I love that now you go and you don't know what you're going to find.
Yeah.
And started getting the pieces. And I think you got a great deal in those. If you pack them properly, you get a great deal.
Yeah.
And I think the other day I went to a store that I swear it was kind of the jackpot for any Harry Potter.
You know what? You were just like a kid in the candy store that day.
I was a kid in a candy store. It's like windows and tan, browns and windows, golden. I'm like, this is happening. All this is happening.
Yep. And you hit the jackpot. I mean, you have to be lucky. The pick and bricks, I feel like they've kind of been hit or miss probably over the past year. But yeah, when you sent me those pieces, you hit a jackpot that day. You had a lot of good stuff. Especially in what you needed.
It was really good. It was really good. And going back to the mocks, one thing that I'm debating now, and it happens every single time, that I need pieces from the mock. I just can't get myself to take it down. And I build it, and I'm like, I really need that piece. I just can't get myself. And when I started making these scenes, because I spent a little bit of time making them, sometimes I need that entire back wall of just Hogwarts windows.
Sure.
And I just cannot take it out. So I need to either figure out how to get more windows or try to reinvent. I was lucky enough, and this is a funny story. I was lucky enough back about a year ago. I scored pretty good bins of Lego.
Okay.
And there were no particular sets, random minifigures, no particular things, but I scored a couple bins of Lego from free Facebook Market.
Okay.
And to date, I'm still using those pieces that I haven't had a chance. I haven't had to buy stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And it became funny in the parent community that we're part of a couple groups, and every time someone in the group posts a Lego bin, literally 25 people tag me. Frank. And then I go to the post, and they're already talking to each other. I said it first. I tag Frank first, and there's like 25 posts, and probably the random neighbor,
Yeah.
number 73, they're like, what is happening? Why is everybody tagging this person? And then I've gone to these people's houses, and they're like, hey, there was a lot of requests, but I feel that I had no choice but to give it to you
Yeah.
because there were 25 people tagging you on this one.
There would have been
Like,
chaos if you didn't get it.
chaos. Yeah. And I love to, because by the time I get to the post, there's people talking. It's like, I said it first, I tag him first, and then it's awesome. It's awesome.
It must feel good to be loved like that, isn't it?
It feels good. It feels good to be Lego loved. Yeah. But
I
but it was pretty good. Now in retrospect, when I see the bins, now I value it because I got them pretty
Yep.
early in my Lego journey. I would say now I understand the value of what's on those bins, and
Yep.
from a plates and colors and small pieces and unique pieces and stuff that from the beginning I put my kids to just
Yeah.
let's
Sure.
sort all these pieces. What I haven't gotten to do yet much is to sort beyond the colors, because I'm still sorted in
Okay.
colors, but I'm not sorted in parts.
Okay.
And that's something that I'm trying to do now, just to try to see, okay, now that I'm sorting in all the reds, can I start making things? And people have amazing storages of how they do them.
Your eyes will be quite open when you switch to the parts.
Portfolio.
That's what we've done
Yeah.
from the beginning. We did by part. I really wanted to do it by part by color. That's
Mhm.
just impossible.
Yeah.
It's just way too much space. But it's I'm at the point now where I have to get. I'm going to do the system where you put a
Mhm.
plate on the front of the drawer, and then you put
Mhm.
like a example of
Oh,
the pieces that are in that
I love that.
drawer.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where I'm at the point now where I got to get the plates for that. But it is so nice. Josh and I were doing a mock for a show
Mhm.
this weekend, and he came over a couple weekends, and he was just going through the parts, and he was
Mhm.
like, "This is really easy." Like again, I don't have them
Yeah.
labeled, but like just to go to a drawer and like what you need, it's there. Now, I mean, by color too. It's you can go, the color
Yeah.
you need, so you just have to pick through it and
Yeah.
hope you find what you want. But um, yeah, I will say if you do have the time to sort that way.
Mhm.
If you're doing the mocks, it's worth it because it'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah. And this is kind of what I've done now. And you guys tell me there's something else that I should be doing. But um, so I started kind of classifying this
Yep,
way, which
yep,
is which is which is awesome. And trust me, I think you guys know this, right? So there's a different feeling to going to one of these drawers and seeing that
mhm,
than in a bin, just
yep,
like you're swimming.
yep.
A complete different
It's
experience, right? So
overwhelming.
I just started doing that, and I know a couple of you kind of have that, but it's awesome. I hope I can do a little bit more, because
Yeah,
even for mocks, you're not doing spending 8 minutes
yeah,
looking for a piece.
yep, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's so I have the Lego clubs, and
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I always feel bad that the kids spend so much time searching for parts
Mhm.
that I mean they still come up with amazing things in an hour, but I wish I could have a part system for the Lego
Yeah.
clubs that kept things sorted, but it would just be
Yeah.
impossible because when they take the stuff apart, you can't. It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, any sort. I mean, and there are some people who they can go through bulk bins and they just find stuff. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
God bless them for doing it.
Yeah.
I just need to have some sort of order
Mhm.
to be able to find what I'm doing. Otherwise, I would be there all day and I wouldn't get anything built.
Yeah. And then I forgot to show this because I know there's a couple. This is our little
The
community.
main
Look.
I know. I'm waiting on my torsos, so don't. I'm getting there. There's the Sigfid. I know we have M, Mandy. Wait, that's Mandy,
Yeah.
right? Yep, Mav, obviously, and then who are the other two?
Moxin socks and Team Hump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I forgot. I gotta send mine. See, I just gotta get these stinking torsos, and then I have yours. You're in my case. So,
There you go. And this is my wife, myself, the
oh,
kids.
nice.
We recently went to Andy's Bricks in
Okay.
PA, and the kids and everybody started making their own, because they do have a lot of parts available.
Sure.
We love to go. We've been a couple times with my coworkers, and now we went as a family,
Okay.
and it's awesome. Even if you're not getting anything, just walking that store is just
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, Mandy. Yes, you were there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I just got into the Sig Fig exchange. I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. It's great to have a piece of some. I feel that it's kind of like pen pals from years ago. It's just to get
Yeah.
so it's awesome.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. I love that to build kind of that little community over there.
Yep. I
Yep.
agree. Yeah, I have some ideas for the sig figs. Once I get my torsos and start, then I'll be able to really start shipping them out. But I'm just going to toss this out for anybody who's rewatching this at a later point. Frank was kind enough when he sent me his sig fig. So I've moved my camera. I used to be on the other side of the room, and it was facing the other way, and you could always see the Titanic in the
Yeah.
background. Frank was kind enough when he sent me his sig fig. Not only did he support my my Brickheads passion that I have, he sent me a Brickheads. He sent me his sig fig, and he sent me his own little mock lifeboat scene that is sitting on my mantle with my Titanic. So kudos to Frank for that, because that will be a memory I will have until the day that my son gets all my Lego and and I'm
Yeah.
on to other things. That'll be a memory that will eventually get stuck to the mantle as the Titanic is stuck to the
You
mantle.
can have Titanic without Jack drowning and Rose holding, not sharing the door. You just can't.
Well, I officially have that scene now. All thanks to you,
Absolutely.
Frank.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, anything else? I know you're thankfully coming to Brick World. We were able to talk you into that, so I'm glad about that. I'm beyond excited to meet you in person. Um, so that's in June. Anything else? I know you said you're traveling. So when are you guys traveling this year?
Right in spring break. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We're going to
So
spring
you
break.
have that pretty soon. Then
Mhm.
you have Brick World in June. Anything else the rest of the year, or just taking it easy the rest of the year?
Probably a lot of work travel. And when there's work travel, if there's kind of local stores, I'll try to go,
Okay.
but nothing else for the
Okay.
rest of the year. Yeah.
Well, so obviously I had more than I knew this was going to be a good time, and
That's it.
I'm glad that I don't have my hour time limit because I didn't even realize it's almost 20 after 9. So that's what's nice. I don't have to worry about time anymore. But I knew this was going to be a good time. I've been looking forward to it for
Yeah,
forever.
absolutely.
Um, Obviously, I'm going to ask you to have you back again in the future.
Let's do it.
Later this year, I'd love to check in with you, see if you took my idea and chopped the rest of the wall down and put your city into the wall.
Yeah.
Uh,
Immediately hammer. I have the hammer already here.
that, and I'm waiting to hear that you told me you applied to be in the Harry Potter baking competition.
Yeah.
Um, or we need to figure out how to get in touch with Will Arnett and tell him that we need to have a Harry Potter Lego Masters spinoff.
Let's do it.
I'd be down
Let's
for
do
that.
it. Let's
I'd
do
be
it.
down for that.
Listen, I
If I
need.
can somehow weasel a way to find somebody to get a word to him and Fox,
Mhm.
that's what I'm going to do. And you're going to be the first person they pick. So
Well, if Cynthia joins me as as a either Lego Master or
yeah,
or Cake Master,
hey,
either
something. Or both.
or
Maybe
both
we'll get you both.
or
You never
both
know.
or
So,
both.
Frank, is there anything else, anything I missed that you want people rewatching this to know about you, to share? Obviously, if you're not following Frank, first of all, go do that. Accio.bricks. So it's ACCIO.BRICKS. Are you on any other platforms, or it's just Instagram?
I put things on TikTok, but it's basically to direct people to Instagram.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So
So
yeah,
mainly follow him on Instagram if you're already not. And then he will be at Brick World in June. I will be at Brick World. So if you're going, let us know. Maybe we'll get to see you there. And then like I said, I'd like to have you back towards the end of the year and catch up.
let's do it.
So
The only thing that I would say, if people rewatch this, is that I love when people reach out and say, "Hey, how about this scene?" I would
okay.
love to get
Yep.
ideas from people
Okay.
because what I love about ideas is that sometimes there's a glimpse in the
Sure.
movie, but it's a very signature. I love when people say this would be cool,
Okay.
and I love to do things that maybe hasn't been done or has
Yep.
overdone. So, but maybe I haven't thought about it. So I love when people reach out and say, "Hey, how about this?" So I have a lot of stuff that I kind of that I could build. So I love when
Okay.
people reach out and say, "I would love to see this." Um, Nocturnally, there you go, expansion.
I was gonna say I'm gonna get a bunch of people to message you and say they want to see a night bus scene.
No, how about I build another night bus? Listen, just for fun, I'm gonna start building night buses, but different colors. How about that?
Everything is awesome with night buses.
Look at that. That's a great idea.
I'm just saying it. You do it. Let's see it happen, Frank.
It's happening. You know it's happening.
Oh man, well I'll be excited for that if you actually do that, because if you did, then that means I had to talk about it first, exclusive right here.
Listen,
So
I just gotta see if I'm gonna destroy the wall or building night buses. Either or.
I would prefer destroy the wall first and then go to the night, because the night buses you can do that in the
Mhm.
wintertime. The wall, like you want to have, you got that dust, you got to go out and get some fresh air. So start with the wall, knock that down, put the city in, then you can do the night buses in the winter.
Deal. Deal.
If I don't see you in any lives over the next few months, I expect that to be why.
So
So
where's Accio, Frank? Well, the spell is broken because now
Acchio's not working.
Accio's
Where
not
is
working.
Frank? Truly a
Thank you.
pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight. And obviously, I look forward to having you when you stop in all the other lives I'm in. So I
Thank
feel
you.
like I'm in one every day, and I feel
Appreciate
like
your
you're there
time.
to support me every day. So seriously, I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate your
So
time as well. I appreciate everything you do for the community. And I have one more thing to
all right,
say.
let's hear it.
We want to see Keith spotlight. So I don't know how much longer you're gonna deny it. We want to see Keith being spotlight.
So,
So
here's the plan. Here's my thought. I am going to. I haven't decided when. It'll be probably over the next month or so. I will take a brief hiatus.
mhm,
Just have a couple things coming up. Um, I will make there be an episode. But what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to bring everybody back that I've had on, and I'll just keep bringing people in and out, and you all will get your shot to grill me or whatever you choose to do.
I'm ready.
So
That's awesome. That's
just
awesome. I'm
just
glad.
be kind to me, please.
No, that's
I
awesome. That's awesome. But no,
don't want
thank you.
this to turn
Truly.
into like the Tom Brady roast or
Yeah.
something like that. So
But no, truly, thanks for everything you do.
no,
Always.
I
Everything.
appreciate that. I love people, and my whole goal for this was to even though everybody, you have your own followers, you have your own set of following. I just always felt like people deserve to be seen more, and that's what I hoped that this would do for people. I have had a couple of people tell me that I have helped them kind of their own ice and like doing lives or showing their face on camera and being comfortable, and like to me that's the biggest reward, to hear people tell me that I've helped them in some way, because that's what my goal was. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank
So
you. Thanks, Cynthia.
all right, Frank, I will see you probably tomorrow's Friday night, so I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow
You
night.
can count on it.
I
All righty. Thank
appreciate
you.
everybody else who stopped by and stuck with us tonight. And then obviously anybody who watches this back, I appreciate it. Again, accio.bricks, accio.bricks, that's Frank. Please follow him. You will not be disappointed. So,
Thank
Frank, I
you.
appreciate you again. Appreciate everybody else. And see you guys next time.
Good evening.
All
Bye-bye.
right. See you
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Bye.